And we continue with the Advent series with the second Monday of Advent, December 5th. I've gotten in the habit of watching Protestant church services on Sundays. It used to be that Saturdays I'd go to confession at 8, stick around for morning mass at 9, and then go do whatever it is I do on a Saturday. When Sunday came, I'd watch the Lutheran service at 8:30, the Episcopal service at 10, and then the Methodist whatever at 11. And I'd have the Revised Common Lectionary pulled up to follow along. I noticed that the Lutherans and Methodists followed the RCL maybe 70% of the time, with the other instances not so much. The Episcopalians follow it, so it's easier to follow along. It's become a game, almost, to just see who follows the RCL for that Sunday. Will all three do it, or is it 2 out of 3? I mean, sometimes it's been 1 out of 3. It's become some sort of Christian anthropology. It's like one of those old-school explorers who sit in on a tribe in the depths of South America, observing their rituals and taking notes. Save in my case, I'm in my underwear watching this on my phone at the crack of dawn. The services are very much like the Catholic Mass, with obvious omissions. The big thing that cropped up was that in the Mass, during the Eucharist portion, we'd say, "Lord, I'm not worthy to receive you under my roof, but only say the word, my soul shall be healed." Now, Lutherans, Episcopalians, and Methodists, when they celebrate communion, don't say it. I initially wondered about that, but have since given up on trying to figure it out. But the way they conduct the service, it's pretty familiar. Even the wording is familiar. When I was growing up, we used to say, "and also with you," whenever the priest gave his blessing, and now it's, "and with thy spirit." The Protestants keep going with that. It's as if it's been placed in a time capsule and I'm seeing the service from the 1990s play over and over again. A big thing that caught me off guard was the altar rail. St. Anne's, well, at least old St. Anne's before it was renovated, didn't have one. St. Vincent de Paul did not have one. St. Gabriel's does not have one. Even St. Patrick's, the Cathedral Church of the Diocese of Charlotte, didn't have one. And it's the damn Cathedral Church of the Diocese. But the Lutherans have it. The Episcopalians have it. The Methodists, well, depends on the church, I suppose. But it looks like Duke Chapel doesn't have it. Have they retained the traditions of the church as much as they revile it? Well, for lack of a better word, maybe there's a better option. While we've chucked it out in the dustbin, I'd be very, very surprised if the Episcopalians started performing a Latin service. I wouldn't jump ship, but I'd find myself sitting in the pews listening eagerly, the Christian anthropologist that I am. When I was growing up, the parish church for my family was St. Anne's. Now, at that time, in the late 80s and 90s, it was this little brick building on Park Road and Hillside Avenue with a triangular facade and rose window. We never saw the rose window inside the church. I imagine it was all for show. Inside the church was relatively plain. It was brown with rectangular stained glass windows and pipes running along the walls. Whenever we had school services and I sat there listening to Monsignor Allen, God rest his soul, preach, my attention would wander. I look at the pipes and just imagine myself crawling through them like some sort of urchin scrounging for stuff. I imagine they were dirty on the inside. Mind you, this was a church built maybe 30 or 40 years before I was born, so it was already old. When Father Reed took over, my family had transferred to St. Vincent de Paul. I mean, no use continuing on at St. Anne's as I was no longer going to the elementary school. Father Reed undertook the task of renovating the church, and he's turned it into this neo-Baroque, again, for lack of a better word, structure. You ever go there, it's quite awe-inspiring. But I find it gaudy. It's not as intimate as Old St. Anne's. It's very much like a Catholic church would be, to be honest. Very authoritative and imposing. St. Patrick's was imposing, but it always seemed warm. The new St. Anne's didn't seem to have that at all. It felt sterile. When I started watching the Lutheran church service at 8:30, I felt a sense of home. And that was because Ascension, off Moorhead Street, very much resembled Old St. Anne's, the church I remembered. It was brick with rectangular stained glass windows. Oh, for sure there were differences, but it had that warmth I remembered as a child. I might get in trouble with the Lutherans and the Catholics, but that church is like a time capsule, in a sense. It's preserving Old St. Anne's to a degree and keeping its memory, unintentionally, in an ever-changing city. And I find myself missing Old St. Anne's every now and then, and would you know, you can't find any pictures of the old church. I've scoured the internet and I've come up short. Thankfully, the elementary school hasn't changed. But who's to say that won't be the case in the next 5, 10, 20 years? It's over half a century old, and if I've learned anything, it's that if it's old, it's gotta come down. We don't have a sense of history. We're too practical. We're too Roman, in a sense. Knock down the old and erect the new and the modern. But a little sentimentality never killed anyone, so why can't we just keep a few of the old things around as a memento?